Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Also, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate in on the discussion like Anthony here, hello Anthony, you can join me most weekdays when I go live around 4 p.m. Central Time. Or outside of my live stream, you can consider joining the Discord I created. There's a link for that down in the description below. Also, in the description below, there's a link to a Pinterest board if anybody's getting if anybody is interested in getting any ideas of the food that we eat. That is a great resource for a lot of our family's favorite whole food plant-based meals. Today is day 722 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food plant-based salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose over 220 pounds so far. I am closing in on the end of year 2, and I'm looking forward to reaching my goal in the next few months and then living out the rest of my life at a healthy adult weight. If anybody has any non-scale victories, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you're struggling with your diet, what's causing your struggles? If you're succeeding, I'd love to know what you're doing to succeed. But one of the things that I think is extremely important is what are the things you are going to do that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative. Let's go ahead and switch over here. A couple more people checking in. Christy, Amy, great to see you guys. I hope you had a wonderful evening. I'm already getting alerts by my computer that I'm having issues. I'm just going to ignore them and hopefully they will go away. So if there is any audio or video issues, let me know and I'll try to address them. I'm going to look real quick to see if I have any photos of the food. I took one photo of food and it was, oh, maybe I did take a couple photos of food here. So let me see how this goes. Matthew saying, afternoon, y'all. Afternoon, Matt. I hope you're having a great day. Let me try to pull up these food pics here. All right. So real quick. Last night, Carrie tried a recipe. I don't know if it even has a name or what the name of the recipe is, but it had a lot of quinoa in it. So this was a recipe. I feel like it is very similar to a recipe that we had in the past. The only difference that I can tell from right away is the recipe that we had in the past had a lot of avocado in it. And as soon as I switched to this, it starts to give me grief. I definitely got to figure out how to do this better. So I'm just going to flash through them really quickly as much as I can. Pretty Girl's mom says Tofu Tuesday. So this was breakfast. We had oatmeal, but we had our sweet oatmeal for breakfast this morning with the bananas and apples. So that was breakfast this morning, just a super close-up photo of it. And then for lunch today, I had leftovers of the quinoa that we had for dinner last night. And it was great as leftovers. I actually enjoyed the meal. Carrie, I think, was so-so about it. She didn't really, it was edible. It wasn't anything special, I suppose, but I thought it was good enough. So that is pretty much all the food that I've had since yesterday. When I went live, I had a couple oranges, some bananas, things like that. So today has been a busy day for me. I had a lot to do at work today and just kept me just buried. So I don't have much to talk about today. If anybody has any any questions, feel free to ask them. One of the topics that I did want to talk about was consistency. Carrie's checking in saying hello. Hello, Carrie. I hope you're having fun at home with the kids. The consistency. And it's something that over the past, 55 days that I've kind of done this reset here. I've become consistent again. And that was something that I was lacking for about 11 months there. I would put, Carrie says that dinner last night was a lot of quinoa. It was a lot of quinoa. But the consistency, and it's been something that is, I've struggled with all diets. And many times once I can't continue to be consistent is when many diets start to fail. And I'm happy that I've been able to rein it in with this diet much easier than I have with other diets. And I've been able to go back to the diet wholly, I guess. And a big reason why I think that this diet is a diet that I'm able to continue to go back to is because it's not a diet where I'm constantly starving myself. With this diet, I am always eating large volumes of food, so I'm not fighting that craving to binge. And that, I think, is where a lot of the previous diets fail, is you eat this super low calorie diet and you lose a ton of weight, but over time it starts to add up, that lack of food. And eventually your body gets to a point where it says we can't take it anymore. And that's what leads to binging. With this diet, I don't like, when I would eat things that were off plan, I wasn't really binging on stuff. Like, I would eat something that was off plan, but it wasn't like I would have to sit there and eat a whole pizza like before when I was on diets. And I would get to that point where it was, I just had to get something, or I just couldn't fight it anymore. It seems like I would always binge on just awful food and then just continue to binge on awful food. And with this diet, I think that part of the reason why it's easier to get back onto is because I'm not, when I'm making these bad choices, it's not necessarily because my body is craving anything. It's because my mind is allowing me to make these bad choices. Whereas in the past, it was my body that was kind of pushing me, because you can only eat those low calorie diets for so long. So, and then the other thing with consistency, I think, is great, is to look back and be able to stand on top of the mountain of consistency that you're building, or to look back at the chain of days that you've been consistent. And it does help to motivate you to keep going. Oh, you know what? I still got this. That's why this is. So I don't know how long the audio or video has been bad. Hopefully it'll catch up here now. But if you can get those consistent days together and then be able to use that to kind of strengthen your resolve to continue on. And I've talked about it a lot, is that's one of the frustrating things that I'm going through right now, is that I did have 330 days or so that I was, what I would consider doing it 100%. And then after that point, when I allowed a temptation, and it wasn't that my body was saying I had to go eat, it was the temptation that broke our diet, was a celebration that me and Carrie kind of, we were out of town did something very positive for our company, and it was kind of, we should go, and we used a bunch of, I used the excuse of all the success that I had up to that point as an excuse to break the chain. And then when I looked back, I really, that uh, is such a frustrating memory. It's because it broke that chain, and now I'm sitting here saying I am 55 days into a new chain that took me 10 months to start, to get to a point where I got to 55 days. Over the course of 11 months, I would chain together a few days, a few weeks, but I couldn't get to the point where I can say that it's been over a month and I've been perfect on my diet. And that is a great place for me to be. And it gives me a lot of hope for the future that I'm going to beat my previous streak of 330 days. And it's also, by keeping some of like our food consistent, it does help make things a little bit easier because we are not having to deal with I can't think of the term off the top of my head, and it's gonna drive me nuts. There's a thing, anyways, but when it comes to our breakfast, and a lot of times my lunch, I don't have to make any decisions about food because it's going to be oatmeal for breakfast and it's going to be potato and broccolis for lunch. And so I don't have a lot of concerns about the making sure that I'm happy with those meals, and it works out well. So I kind of got a little lost there. So Amy says, have you heard of or done 75 hard? Yes. 75 hard is something I have heard about. Carrie actually, the timeline of this whole kind of channel weight loss thing was actually something that Carrie was doing 75 hard when I started this diet, or she had been doing 75 hard before I started this diet. And I don't remember her exact experience with it, or if she's still listening, she might be able to share with it. I know that it was difficult to do, or to, I feel like the 75 hard has a thing where you do it, but you have to do it for 75 days. And if you do it for 20 days and then you screw it up, you're supposed to reset. And I feel like Carrie had done that. Yeah, I think decision fatigue is what I was talking about a little bit, is with the breakfast and the lunch. But the 75 hard, Carrie tried it a little bit. I never tried it. I also had a brother of mine who did 75 hard. I think he did it getting ready for a race that he did recently, or he was trying to do it. But so I don't know like the specifics of it. I know it's like a workout program. And like I said, Carrie would probably have a better background in it than I do. Yeah. Cindy says that keeping choices at a minimalistic approach works really well. Yeah. And, I'm not sure what about it does, but yeah, Carrie says that she did 75 hard for about a month before I started this. And then we switched our diet up, and then she hasn't really, I'm not exactly sure what the program was. I know there was workouts, or there was all kinds of stuff you were supposed to do. But yeah, keeping it simple, I think is great, especially early on. And for me, and it was really easy to keep it simple, just because if I was preparing food for myself, I wouldn't make very complicated food. When I first started this diet, we had the oatmeal for breakfast. I think oatmeal for breakfast has pretty much been a standard throughout all of the diet here. Um, but when I would go make myself lunch, it would just be like a can of corn or just something easy. Amy says you could see me being really successful with it. Yeah, I'd have to look into it. Carrie says that working out twice a day was tough for her, but you did notice benefits. And yeah. And then Amy says that you'd been doing the 75 hard now for you're on day 9 and you're loving it. And you feel mentally stronger because of it. That's great. And yeah, so keep it up and let us know how it goes, because you still only got 69 or 66 days left, right? But that's great. Keep it simple. I think, especially when you start off and you're changing your diet, it's, you keep it simple. I think that I kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday when we were talking about the gut microbiome, and that if you kind of keep it simple, then the bugs in your stomach will get better at processing that type of food, which I think will benefit us as well. Cindy says that you like to eat with intention so you don't fall into the pleasure trap. Yes. It can be very easy to fall into the pleasure trap in the world that we live in now. It's extremely easy. Janet says hello. Hello, Janet. Hope you're having a great morning, right? It's morning for you. I hope you're having a great morning. Gosh, let's see. I'm just trying to think of anything that's come up in the past 24 hours that I was looking to talk about. Like I said, I had such a busy day today. I just wanted to get on here, kind of give a quick update. I'm looking forward to the weigh-in tomorrow. I'm thinking that unless something crazy happens, the weight loss that I was hoping to see last week, I will see this week, which has been it'll be great to have a good weight loss this week after having kind of I'm going to say a stalemate last week, even though it did go up on stream. If you follow my Discord, you'll see I posted a photo that right after stream, the scale said something different. So, Alicia says, loved my interview with Chef AJ. You learned so much. Well, that's great. I appreciate it. And you started eating salads first and your weight loss resumed. That's great. Yes. The salads are something that I even talked to Carrie a little bit about it last night, because I'm definitely getting that mental kind of switch flipped. And I know that I can't judge foods before I actually physically taste them anymore. And that was something that happened yesterday. For breakfast, we had that oatmeal and we were out of mushrooms. So Carrie put carrots in the oatmeal, and I thought, I talked to her a little bit about it last night. When that happened, at the time, I was a little bit frustrated that she decided to sub the carrots for mushrooms instead of just making the other kind of type of oatmeal that we have. We either have a savory oatmeal or we have a sweet oatmeal. And the reason why she didn't make the sweet oatmeal is because we were missing other ingredients for that. That's what happens when your wife is out of town for 5 days and you're trying to raise the kids on your own. You go grocery shopping, but you don't buy necessarily all the right things. And I didn't have enough of some fruit. I didn't have enough of the bananas for her to make the sweet oatmeal. So I was frustrated, mentally, but I didn't like I said, I've come to this realization over time is that I can't judge any of this food before I taste it. So I was like, well, I'll take it to work. I'll see how it is when I get to work, and then we'll go from there. And then I got to work, I tried it, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is really good. I liked it almost as much as our mushroom oatmeal. And I definitely would suggest that she puts carrots in the oatmeal more. But I just, like I said, judging that book by its cover that it's going to taste awful. And then I had it and I was like, this is like having chicken noodle soup for breakfast. You know, I mean, it was incredibly savory and very, it was great. It was much better than I expected. And salads have become, have been that way this whole time. From the first time that Carrie said, hey, we're having salad tonight. And I was like, I'm going to eat a whole bowl of spinach and that's going to be my dinner. At that time, I was like, I can't believe we're eating these huge salads. And then fast forward now is that, I really enjoy the salads. But it took me a while to get over that, salad for dinner, couldn't we have something else? And it's just part of the process of changing my taste buds and changing what my expectations are of my food. Carrie says that we should definitely eat more salads. She says she feels like she's reluctant to make them after we stopped using tahini. And the last salad we had, I ate it with nothing on it. I just had the spinach with the onions and the red peppers and the carrots and the cucumber and all the different vegetables. And I didn't put any seasoning or any dressing on it. And I still enjoyed the salad. The comment I made at the time was that it definitely caused me to eat the salad slower, which wasn't a bad thing either. But I didn't mind having the salad without any dressing or any sauce on it. And again, that is not an opinion that I ever would have thought that I would hold until I've tried it. And I find that I enjoy it. Janet says she's eating a big salad right now. I think I might have missed a couple comments. Lots of comments coming in here, guys. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Alicia says that she satisfies her crunch with salads first. Sometimes you can eat starch after your salads, the cucumbers, celery, carrots, etc., and something green. Yeah, starting with a good salad is going to help fill up your stomach and help bring that calorie density down for your diet too, which is great. You're making a dressing with a mango, an orange, and 2 limes with some cherry tomatoes, Janet says. That sounds like a great dressing. I have messed with doing like lime juice or doing some other stuff. I feel like we had a mango. Carrie was making this mango salsa a lot last summer, and we might have had that on a salad one time or something similar to that on a salad, but that sounds like a great dressing. Alicia says you're going to buy groats and try your savory oats, but you'll probably eat it for lunch or dinner. Yeah, I think it's a great meal. I really enjoy eating oat groats. It's I don't know. It's weird. And, it does seem to fill me up too. And that's great. Janet says you just throw all that stuff in a blender with some herbs and spices and a balsamic vinegar to make your dressing. Yes, it does sound fabulous. Let's see. You don't want, Alicia says sometimes you don't want a salad, so you saute a big bunch of spinach and squeeze in a half a lemon. Yeah, we have found, we kind of add cooked spinach to all kinds of things that don't necessarily have to have cooked spinach in them, or they don't even have cooked spinach in the recipe. Like the oatmeal we have for breakfast, we put spinach in it. Or the meals, a lot of times if I take like the meal I showed yesterday. I took mushrooms and onions, sauteed them in a pan, and then I added a can of diced tomatoes and a little bit of balsamic vinegar, and then I just filled up the whole thing with spinach and just let it melt down. I'm not going to try to do my thing, but I'll try to put this up on the camera. But like, this was, oh, let me see. Anyways, I'll just throw this up. I mean, that was a bowl that was filled with, or a pan that was filled with mushrooms and onions, and then tomatoes. And then I just put spinach on top of it, let it wilt down, and then it turned into that. But it's not, it doesn't really affect the flavor when you cook the spinach. And so, and to me, it's an easy way to get that extra greens. And so we've been doing that a lot since we started this, is adding spinach to recipes, just to get the extra greens. Yes, changing taste buds, and that happens so quickly. It does. It's slower than, some adaptations, but it is quicker than you think. And you just got to, get through the first couple weeks of not being real happy. I talk about it all the time with my mega veggie chili. And I was in a position after I did my fast where everything was enhanced as far as flavor, but that mega veggie chili was still something that I wasn't a huge fan of at first. But after 2 or 3 weeks, it became one of my favorite meals that we have. And that was because it took that time for my taste buds to adjust even after fasting. So if you're going to switch to this diet without doing a mono diet, or without doing something that will help reset your taste buds, it may take a little bit longer, or you may have a harder time at first making these whole foods taste good. Let's see. Carrie says, you put a half a bag of spinach in our oats each morning. Just try to start the day with some greens. And then there's a I don't know what a Bernara Fresh is, but Carrie's saying she wished we had that in here in Iowa. The best we get is from the farm stand up the street. Maybe that was in reference to another question, so I might have missed something. Yeah, and then the idea of the oat groats with the mushrooms and onions, and that really came from Chef AJ, reading her book, The Secret to Ultimate Weight Loss, and she has a whole thing about vegetables for breakfast. And I kind of talked to Carrie about it, and we felt like the reason why I like the vegetables for breakfast sometimes more than the bananas and apples for breakfast is that when you start your day with something so sweet, it kind of sets you up the whole day wanting to have that kind of level of sweetness. And so switching to this oatmeal, I think, helped reduce the amount of sweetness in my diet overall, which helps with my temptations with sugar. Because something I kind of realized the other day is that, I don't have a lot of, there's not a lot of salt in my diet. There's not a lot of oil in my diet, but there is still quite a bit of sugar in my diet in the foods that I eat. So I realize that might be what makes it so much more difficult for me to continue to stay away from the sweets, is that it's not like it's been completely removed. And I don't have any intention of removing fruit from my diet, but that would be something that if you are having problems with, cravings for sweets, that maybe staying away from fruit for a little bit might help, because, but I don't know. I'm just kind of making that up too. So who knows? Let's see. I just dropped that here. Carrie, somebody's asking about the dressings that we use. We were using tahini dressing. that it would last for a little bit. I don't know if there was any apple cider vinegar in it. There might have been a little bit of apple cider vinegar in the dressing, but I'm not sure. Um, and then Janet says, it's so funny how we are conditioned to not eat veggies for breakfast. It's, yeah, I don't know where it comes from that everybody thinks that we have to have, you know, sweet cereals and these super fatty foods for breakfast, but eating a salad for breakfast is not anything, like you'll have breakfast for dinner, but dinner for breakfast is not really a thing, which is interesting. And it might be because some of them take a little bit more effort to cook, but it's and it does take a little bit of time to chop up the vegetables and do those things. So Cindy asks, do you suggest weighing ourselves more? Let's see. Do you suggest weighing ourselves just once a week instead of more often? The recommendation that I'm going to give for getting on the scale is whatever you can handle mentally. Everybody has different relationship to the scale. I've never had a relationship with the scale where it would make me depressed. When I was in high school, we used to have to wrestle, and so we get on the scale all the time. I would weigh in every day when I was in high school. In some of the books that I've read, How Not to Diet might have talked about it, the Dr. Greger book. There have been studies that have been done on groups of people on weighing and not weighing. And studies have shown that people that weigh in more do tend to see more weight loss than people who don't weigh in. I personally weigh in every day, every weekday, because I actually, the scale I use to weigh, and I'm at work now, I'm not at home. And so, I have the scale here at work. So I kind of check my weight every day. If having slow progress or having no progress is going to mess with you mentally, then maybe pull it back and not weigh in so much, but don't avoid the scale completely, because it can cause you to gain weight without really knowing or trying, or you can lose a little bit of control. And then, or you may have in your head that you've been doing great for 2 weeks, and you get on the scale and it doesn't do as good as you hoped. Whereas if you'd weighed in every 4 days, you would know where you're at. And I think the other part about getting on the scale is that I can make plans based off of how the scale, last week, the scale wasn't great. I knew I wasn't really losing much weight or going to see a big drop in my weight last week because I had weighed in every day prior to the weigh-in. But I also looked at it and said, my diet's been perfect and I'm not losing weight. What's going on? And I just happened to hear an interview with Chef AJ, and they were talking about stress and constipation. And I think that all kind of worked together to make my weight hold where it was last week. But I also, when I saw that, I hadn't lost 2 or 3 pounds, that I didn't grab a snack that night, or I focused on just eating my food at meals for those few days. And because of that, I believe that I will see a great weigh-in this week. So if you're trying to lose weight, don't hesitate to weigh in every day if you can handle it, or once every couple days. Don't go so long that things can get out of hand, and then when you get on the scale, you're 10, 20 pounds heavier. And if you think you're doing well, if you think you're eating on diet, seeing the scale go down is going to give you that kind of extra motivation and it is going to lift your mood. And so for me, what I've found is that when I'm on diet, eating whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar free, I am seeing the scale go down, and then that in turn improves my mood because I'm succeeding in what I'm trying to accomplish. So I hope that answered your question on the scale. Let's see. I got way behind. Alicia says you get bloated when you eat fruit. And then that the Japanese do eat greens for breakfast. Okay. Alicia says your hair falls out every time you try to fast. How is that for you? You want to start a fast, but it feels like a big famine stressor on your body. Thoughts? Yeah. I think fasting is beneficial if you're trying to change your diet, trying to reset your diet, trying to heal. You will see weight loss success from fasting. I fasted for 42 days. I lost 90 pounds. It's incredible success through fasting. But now I'm definitely, when I fast, I notice that I binge quite a bit after I fast. And when I was 500 pounds, that wouldn't necessarily affect me as much. But now that I've lost the 200 pounds, I don't like that feeling and what it does. Like I said, if I were to fast again for multiple days, it would be more of a healing type reason, or if I had some, but right now, I feel pretty good, and I'm still seeing the weight loss success with the diet. And so, yeah, it's tough with fasting, and everybody's different. Pretty Girl's mom says you love having your veggies for breakfast these days. You never thought you'd be able to do it, but you've been doing it since September 1st. That's great. Yeah. And we were kind of surprised when we first decided to do it too, that it was more enjoyable than we expected. And I feel like when I eat these green veggies and stuff, I do feel like I get this energy boost that's different than the energy boost I get from eating a fruit. And Barb says keep weighing in every day keeps them accountable. And to me, I feel like it helps keep me accountable too. And also, but there's so much that goes into what your weight is every day. It's not just kind of what you ate since the previous day. Something that you ate 4 days ago might affect your weight today. And it's hard to connect those dots. So it's nice to stay on top of it and just keep making sure that things are going the way you want them to go, or you can keep yourself in the right spot. Alicia says that you must weigh. She agrees with that. Oh my gosh. The one thing I wish you said something about having a daily tracker. I do wish I would have kept up with like my daily tracking on the app I have on my phone, so that I could see like a graph of the weight loss, but I just never got into doing that consistently, so I haven't done it. Everybody loves veggies for breakfast. Yeah, and I don't even feel like we eat that many veggies for breakfast. It's because the oatmeal is the same whether we had the sweet oatmeal or the savory oatmeal, and then and I don't realize too, like with that spinach, Carrie says she puts a half a bag of spinach in that. Once you cook it down, you don't realize that you're eating a quarter bag of spinach. And so it is a lot more veggies than it appears to be as well. Let's see. Pretty girl's mom says that they can't handle the daily weigh-in. It's too stressful and once a week is best. Exactly. You got to do what's going to affect you the most or what's going to work for you. And if doing it, weighing in once a week is what you need to do, then that's great. But I do recommend keeping an eye on it and not going super long time. Because it can be really easy to convince yourself. What I ended up doing with weighing in every day, I guess I can just tell this story, is that when I started this diet, weighed in every day, no problem. And then I got injured in August of 2021. I tore my distal bicep tendon, which is the tendon that connects your bicep at the elbow to your arm. And I got into a period of time there where, I had surgery and so my weight didn't really go down. And then within a month of that happening is when me and Carrie kind of had our first off-plan meal. And around that time, I started to convince myself not to weigh in every day. And so even on stream here, I took a couple weeks off of weighing, or I might have even taken a whole month off of weighing. And I came back and I was 15 pounds heavier. I was at my low of 310 pounds in July when I got injured. And then 3 months later, I had gained, 20 or so pounds. And part of the reason why I gained the weight is because I quit weighing in. And when you set a new weigh-in date in your head, you say, okay, I weighed in today, I'm going to weigh in 2 weeks. Then your brain starts to play that little trick of, well, hey, you don't have to weigh in for 2 weeks. And so why don't we go grab that junk food real quick? And, you'll have 2 weeks to get rid of it. So we can do that. We'll probably do that for 5 or 6 days, and then we'll rein it in, and then you'll fix it by the time you get to the weigh-in. Well, you break the diet, eat the junk food, and that plan that you made on day 1 falls apart. And on day 7, you're still eating junk food. On day 11, you're still eating junk food. And then maybe the day before the weigh-in, you realize you need to do something, and then it's already too late. Gene saying hello, Gene. I hope you're having a great day. And then, let's see, Janet says that, Carrie, I'm specifically, Carrie outed herself. I'm specifically telling her that she needs to weigh in more. Not, like I said, you do what makes you the most happy. But she did mention that she knows that she needs to weigh in, that she avoids the scale. And again, it may just be a mental thing, like me avoiding salads until I gave it enough shots. It didn't click. And maybe weighing in more regularly just takes the effort of doing it. Let's see, daily weigh-ins. I already read that. I'm trying to catch up here. Rick just came in. Hey, Rick, how you doing? I'm trying to see if I missed any. Janet, I love it. You're maintaining your weight for the first time in your life. I did that for the last 11 months. It was so stressful on me at the time. I was so frustrated for the last 11 months because I kept falling off the wagon and kept screwing up my diet. But then, get to the end of that 11 months and I can look back and I can say, you know what? I stayed the same weight. I lost 10 pounds in a year, but that's never happened. I've never maintained my weight as an adult. So congratulations on maintaining your weight for the first time in your life, because that is truly an accomplishment. I've said it many times. I was going one of two directions. I was either eating like an 800-pound person and well on my way to that life there before I started this challenge, or I was eating like a 90-pound anorexic school kid that just eats, nibbles at things. And both those diets are extreme in both directions. And so I was either gaining weight or rapidly losing it, but never maintaining it. So that's great to hear that you're maintaining it. Alicia says, my skin and face is so clear and bright. Thank you. You should get the Renfo scale. It's cheap and it connects to your phone and it has a graph for you and it keeps track of more than just your weight too. I'll have to look it up. The scale that I have, I don't think I've ever shown it. This scale, it says Eat Smart. Eek. The reason why I bought this scale is because it does like up to 550 pounds and it was very cheap. It's called the Eat Smart Precision 550. It doesn't have any fancy apps on it, but for me, when I started this diet, the biggest thing was finding a scale that could weigh me over 500. I'm just gonna look up to see if I could get a price on it, because I feel like it was a fairly cheap scale. Yeah, it was like $45. Yeah, you can get it on Amazon for $45. But I will tell you that the scale sucks as far as like consistency, and I can stand on the scale and I can move it like 1 inch to the right and it'll give me a different weight. And any scale is going to give you a different weight if you like move it to different spots in a room or different spots in a house. But I don't feel like it's the most accurate scale. Again, that's why I don't let it depress me, because if the scale's not telling me what I want it to say, it's the scale's fault and not my fault, because the scale sucks. But for $45 and the ability to weigh somebody that's 550 pounds, that was the two driving factors. But I'll have to check out that Renfo scale that you're talking about. Anthony says the don't eat junk food. Yes, don't eat junk food. You find that accidental salt and more than a piece of fruit messes up your scale. Yeah, the salt is crazy how quickly the salt will cause me to just kind of shoot up and skyrocket in weight. Let's see. Yeah, Carrie could weigh in on Thursdays. So I'm noticing that my video is a bit behind here too. So I'm behind on comments, and then my video's behind. So if you've made comments that I missed, Nicole's asking what the easiest dinner is you're wanting to lose weight. Oh my gosh. Carrie's asking Nicole if she cooks. We have an amazing polenta recipe. Yeah, that's I think we're having it tonight. Yeah, we're having it tonight. But if you don't cook, potatoes and a bag of broccoli. Yeah, so it depends on if you cook. Nicole says she does not cook a lot. School and work, really, you think potatoes and broccoli will do it? I swear, I feel like nothing has helped me lose weight, and there's so much to lose. So, there's a lot going, Nicole, with, I don't know. Are you eating a healthy diet now? I guess would be part of it. But yeah, eating low calorie dense foods is going to help you lose weight, because if you're somebody like me who got grossly overweight, then I would imagine that like me, you're a volume eater. The reason why you got to a heavy weight is because you enjoy eating large quantities of food. And if I wasn't a volume eater, then I wouldn't have gotten as heavy as I did. So what you have to do is you have to lower the calorie density of the food that you're eating, but you also have to realize that means that you should also increase the volume of food that you're eating of those foods. And by increasing the volume of potatoes and broccoli that you eat, it will help you because you're having a meal that is low calorie dense, but also by getting a full stomach of that, you're not fighting cravings all day. You're not fighting temptations because of hunger. You may fight temptations because of cravings. You may crave something, but you don't get truly hungry if you eat a large volume of food. So I eat a large volume of food to satisfy my need for eating a large volume of food, which I've had my whole life. And then I eat a low calorie dense diet so that satisfying of my volume needs doesn't cause me to gain weight. I can eat so much more food now and still lose weight. The number of times I've gone home, I've binged on food, just eaten 2 portions or 3 portions of dinner, and then came back the next day and got on the scale and either lost weight or stayed the same is amazing. So focus on volume, lower calorie dense foods. If you look at Chef AJ's, there's the red line is what they call it, trying to eat foods that are under 600 calories per pound in density. Those are going to help kind of promote weight loss for you. Is it good to eat that for lunch and dinner, or do you guys switch it up? Eat as much potatoes as you can get into your belly. There's people that have done potato diets. There's people that swear by eating them. You could do a rice diet too. You could do rice and potatoes, but it's, I don't get sick of it. I thought I would. I don't get sick of it. And we do have enough variety in our other meals that it's not the only thing I'm eating. Many diets in the past where it was like, okay, I'm going to have this for dinner. That dinner was like all of my calories that I could have. And so that was the only thing day after day that I was eating was that same dinner. And that would get old, or I would get to a point where I would get sick of maybe that particular dinner we were having. And so for me with this diet, I'm so surprised that I'm not getting sick of oatmeal and I'm not getting sick of potatoes and broccoli, but it's because I'm having oatmeal every day and potatoes and broccoli every day, but I'm also having other foods. I'm having the polenta dinner that we're going to have tonight. I'm having the quinoa meal that we had last night, so I'm still getting a variety in my diet, but I'm using simple foods to fill up the volume needs that I have. Let's see. Doctor, let's see. You eat all right, not the best all the time. You feel like you can eat good for 3 or 4, eat good for 3 days and then bad for 4. Yeah. And I absolutely struggled with the same issues for years. And really, prior to starting this diet, I had given up on it completely. Like it was for the 8 years up until I started this, I was, I would get maybe 2 hours of diet in and then I'd quit. So, but yeah, so if you can, get past that, what is it that's causing you to get to day 3, but then break? Is it because you're eating a low volume and you get tempted? Is it, why is that temptation around? Is it in your house? Is it you driving by it? There's a lot of different things to look at, maybe why you can't get past that 3rd day. But it can be, you said you are a volume eater, then it looks like you said, Carrie. Yeah. So, then Carrie says to keep fruit handy for snacks or even some purse potatoes. Yes, we have cooked potatoes in the fridge and we have them all the time. Like yesterday I had some potatoes in the fridge from Friday, actually, that I just, I heated up and ate. But, Barb says that she has 1 pound of steamed potatoes and 2 pounds of veggies for lunch every day, and it never gets old for her. That's great. When you say you eat a large volume of food, is that all veg or does it include beans and pasta and rice? Left of the red line. Yeah, it's a lot. If it's left of the red line, I don't worry about it too much. That's really, yeah, I mean, I eat all of them, I probably, eat a lot more, like the oatmeal and the potatoes is a large percentage of the volume that I eat. But I eat all kinds of stuff. We don't have a lot of pasta though. I do like having the pasta when we have it, but we don't have it very long. Let's see. Yeah, everybody's talking about it. It's insane how it doesn't get old. Dr. Bolshewitz mentions eating 30 different varieties of veggies per week. Do I do this? I don't sit there and like check off and say I got 30. But I did read Fiber Fueled, and I would guess I do. I mean, I can't sit here and name every veggie that I have, but each meal generally has 3 or 4 different veggies. So I don't know if I get 30. I mean, but it is just per week. So it's not like 30 every day. It's just, like we had quinoa last night. We hadn't had that for a long time, but that's a different veggie. So I don't like sit there and count it, but I do try to eat a variety of food of things if I can, to try to make sure that I'm getting a broad spectrum of nutrients. I don't, there's advice that you can have for being at a healthy weight and trying to eat healthy. And then there's advice that you would have to lose weight. And people that are trying to lose weight, I don't know that you have to focus on making sure you get 30 different vegetables. If you're at a healthy weight and then that might be more important. I don't know. But if you can get all the veggies in, that's good. But it's not, like the Dr. Greger's Daily Dozen. I don't follow that at all. But again, it wouldn't be a bad thing to follow. You feel like, let's see. I feel like I'm like, I want in or out, for example. And then the next day I'm like, well, I already ate out, whatever. Is it okay to season potatoes? Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of great seasonings you can use. Just try to avoid salt and butter or salt and oil like margarine. I don't season my potatoes. But we do use like the Kirkland's no salt seasoning. We use that in our oatmeal. I use that in that picture I showed earlier of the spinach dinner. I'll use that seasoning in a lot of different things. So if you got to add flavor to it, then that's fine. And I would highly recommend eating a no salt diet. But if you can't imagine being able to eat this way without having salt, then cook your food, put a little salt on the top of the food. Don't cook the food with salt as an ingredient of the food. And that will help to make the dish more palatable, especially right away, because the salt will be on top. But it'll also, I think it's something that I think it's McDougall kind of has said, is that if adding salt is going to change you from eating no broccoli to eating some broccoli, then put the salt on it, but if you can eat it without, that would be best. So yeah, don't hesitate to season them. And I'm sure that some people have some great ideas. Cindy asks, you just ordered Dr. Kreger's book, How Not to Diet. Have I read it? If so, did you find it helpful? Yes, I have listened to on audiobook both of Dr. Greger's books, How Not to Die and How Not to Diet. They're both good books. You have to be, you're going to get real used to him saying, put it to the test, because that is like his catchphrase is put it to the test. Everything's about studies. The How Not to Diet. I was going to look real quick because the one of them is just insanely long. How Not to Diet was, oh, that's funny. It's not on my thing anymore. One of them was like 24 hours of audiobook. And I feel like it's How Not to Diet. But let's see. Yeah, Nicole, you're welcome. Yeah, I was frustrated every day with my weight, and it didn't ever stop me from continuing to sorry, I got distracted by my phone. I was trying to figure out how long those books were, and then they weren't downloaded on my phone anymore. So it's amazing how quickly the weight can kind of shoot up too if you're eating the wrong foods. I know that I could be 40 pounds heavier in a couple weeks really easy without having to do too much. Rebecca says you like the idea of salt on top. Yeah, and that's not, like I said, it's an idea I've heard from somebody else, but if that's what it's going to take for you to at least eat the vegetables, then do it. And then Barb says, Nicole, keep coming back. Yes, keep us updated on how you're doing. Let us know how eating a bunch of potatoes goes for you. And it's the thing that I think you'll notice, and I don't know how processed your diet is. I imagine it's fairly processed. That's how my diet was. That if you take and you overeat potatoes for a meal later in the day, even if you were to not eat potatoes later or eat off diet later, you're going to eat less food. We are all creatures that eat a volume of food. We're all going to want to have a certain amount of food, individual for us. Some people can survive on 3 pounds of food. Some people need 7 pounds of food. But if you can just focus on getting that volume in, because that's what you've been doing. You've been eating a volume of food. It's just that it's so highly processed that it's extremely easy for your body to get the calories out of it. And there's no real nutrients involved in any of it. It's just calories. Right. Cindy says, How to Die. Listen to an audiobook for 24 hours. It was a long couple weeks of listening through it. He does have great studies, great examples, lots of information in his books. They just are very long. And then Nicole Carey says that most of us have been in that same position. It does seem hopeless, but this is the most sustainable, life-changing diet that Carrie's ever been on and I've ever been on. Like sustainability of diet. That is something that people don't talk about enough, I think, is the longest I ever sustained a low calorie diet was 9 months. And for all 9 of those months, I was taking a drug called phentermine that suppressed my appetite. Had I not taken that drug, there's no way I would have made it even half as long as I did. And as soon as I quit using that drug, everything went just whack, because there was no sustainability. There was no, you know, I was constantly hungry. I wasn't hungry because but I was masking that hunger, with the drugs, and I didn't realize it at the time. You know, at the time I thought it was me doing it, and it wasn't. This time it's been me doing it. And I love it that it's been me doing it. Like, that's another part of this diet I feel is great, is that it doesn't feel gimmicky. There's nobody profiting off of me. There's no big broccoli out there trying to get me fat and buy a bunch of heads of broccoli, you know, like there's nothing they can really do to mark up the cost of the foods because it's just whole foods that anybody could kind of grow in the right climates and things like that. So, let's see, you'll come back and let you know how you're doing. Great. Thank you, Nicole. You're welcome. And you want to be better. You want to feel better and you want to look better. Yes, that's absolutely. Eat this diet to be better, to feel better, and to look better. I might steal that. So, you can do this. And yeah, we've been doing it for almost 2 years, and I never would have expected to do it for almost 2 years. I also didn't expect to talk for an hour and 5 minutes today. But here we are, an hour and 5 minutes in. I do appreciate all you guys coming and checking out my videos and following along. I am very excited for my weigh-in tomorrow. I think it'll be a good weigh-in, and we'll have a good week after that. So I'm going to get out of here. Thank you for being here. If you have any more questions, you know, feel free to join the Discord, ask them down in the comments below later. I love seeing your guys' questions, and it helps me out a lot. So I will be back live tomorrow. Make sure you get subscribed to the channel, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos, and hit that thumbs up video on the channel. Also, if you haven't started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nobody that reaches their goals, looks back and says, man, I wish I would have waited. Everybody who reaches their goals looks back and says, what was I thinking? If I'd have known how good I was going to feel, I'd have started this so much sooner. So get started right now, folks, and we will talk to you tomorrow.